안녕! Hello everyone, it's your Korean teacher, Christina. Have you ever visited Korea before? If you have, you might have noticed something. It is easy to find cafes or coffee shops anywhere in Korea. There will even be cafes in the most rural areas. Korean people just love their coffee, myself included. Today, we are going to learn some Korean expressions that are used all the time in a cafe. There are a lot of pretty cafes in Korea that are also very Instagrammable. So, if you come to Korea, I highly recommend that you go on a cafe tour. There are also unique cafes that you may not see anywhere else. So, after you learn some useful expressions, you'll be ready to enjoy Korean cafes. To start off, do you know how to pronounce cafe in Korean? Of course, you can use the word coffee shop to say a coffee shop, but the word is a bit outdated and I've only heard older people say the word. Now, a lot of people say cafe more than coffee shop. It's cafe, not fe, but pe. It sounds more like a P than an F. Repeat after me. Cafe. Very good. I told you that there are a lot of cafes in Korea, right? In fact, there are even some streets in Korea called CafeKorean. It's a combination of the word cafe and 거리, which means street. Basically, it will be a street with many cafes lined up. These streets are in many cities, so it can be another place for you to visit once you're in Korea. Okay, now let's learn some more expressions after we listen to this Korean dialogue. Let's go!
안녕하세요. 저 카라멜 마키아토 하나 주세요.
카라멜 마키아토
네.
아이스 드릴까요? 아니면 핫으로 드릴까요?
저는 뜨거운 거 주시고요.
네.
그리고
사이즈는 어떻게 드릴까요?
라지 사이즈로 주세요.
네.
그래서 샷 추가되죠?
네, 됩니다. 핫추가. 네. 소다는 무슨 우유인가요?
저지방 우유가 있던가요?
저희는 저지방은 없어요.
아, 없어요? 그러면 그냥 해주시면 됩니다.
네, 알겠습니다. 결제 도와드릴게요.
네, 감사합니다.
네.
짠.
네, 감사합니다.
네.
네. 네, 결제됐습니다.
Alright, how was that? Was it easy? Difficult? Don't worry. We'll go over the expressions together, one by one, and you'll understand everything in no time. So, let's begin. 도와드리겠습니다. This means, let me help you. The basic form for the verb help is 도와주다. But the honorific form is 도와드립니다. The 하겠습니다 at the end means I will or let me. So altogether, 도와드리겠습니다 means let me help you with something. In our dialogue, instead of saying 도와드리겠습니다, it was 도와드릴게요, which is a slightly more casual way of saying it as it ends with 요 instead of 습니다. It is still polite if you say 도와드릴게요, so don't worry about your manners. 도와드리겠습니다 is a very polite expression that is mostly used in the service sector. 샷 추가되죠? This means, can I have an extra shot? 샷 means shot, which is quite obvious. 추가 means in addition. So altogether, 샷 추가 means shot in addition, thus extra shot. Add 되죠 at the end to make it a question. How many shots do you like in your coffee? Although I really love coffee and can't live without it, I'm kind of sensitive to caffeine, so I try not to drink more than 2 shots of coffee a day. Although normally I'll have my 2 shots separately, but when I'm really tired, I'll have the 2 shots all at once. This is when I will also use the expression 샷 추가되죠. Coffee is just my source of life. 하나 주세요. This means I will have one, please. 하나 means one. So if you want 1 cup of caramel macchiato, you can say 카라멜 마키아토 하나 주세요. What do you think you will say if you were ordering 2 cups of caramel macchiato? You will replace 하나 with 2개 to say 카라멜 마키아토 2개 주세요. Simple, right? Do you remember when you first learned your manners? One of the first words children learn how to say when asking for things politely is please, right? In Korean, children learn 주세요. 주세요 actually means please give me. Learning manners is the same anywhere in the world, don't you think? If we add 주세요 to the end of the verb, that doesn't necessarily require you giving something to the other person. 주세요 becomes please. As we learn more expressions later on, we'll see more of 주세요, so remember it. Let's practice the expression one more time. 하나 주세요. Good job. 저지방 우유 있어요? This means, do you have low-fat milk? 저 means low. It's a Chinese character that's frequently used as a prefix. Korean uses a lot of Chinese characters, and we'll be seeing more of them as we go on. 지방 means fat, but not as in I'm so fat. It refers to fat, as in the substance fat. 우유 means milk. Well, to be exact, it refers to cow milk because 우 actually is a Chinese character that means cow. Another Chinese character, right? So altogether, 저지방 우유 means low-fat milk. We just learned 3 words in one. Awesome! Moving on to the second part of the expression, 있어요 means do you have. Add it with 저지방 우유 to make 저지방 우유 있어요 to ask whether the cafe has low-fat milk or not. Normally, when I go on a diet to lose some weight, I would cut off from drinking lattes or macchiatos and only drink Americano. But, life happens. And sometimes, even when I'm on a diet, I really need to have that latte. That's when I turn to low-fat milk to be just a little less guilty. I'm sure you do the same thing too. So, let's practice the expression one last time. 저지방 우유 있어요? Great! 결제. This word means payment. In our dialogue, 결제 came out 2 times. First, with our first expression, 도와드릴게요 as 결제 도와드릴게요. Second, it was at the end of the dialogue as 결제하겠습니다. Remember what I said 하겠습니다 at the end means? Right, it means I will or let me. So in short, 결제 도와드릴게요 will be let me help you make a payment. And 결제하겠습니다 will be I will make the payment. Catch the slight difference in nuance? They're both polite expressions though. What you should note here is that the vowel part for 제 is spelled with 어 and 이. A lot of people confuse the spelling with 아 and 이, even some native Koreans. But the small difference completely changes the meaning. 결제 with I and E means approval. It's mostly used at work when you get documents confirmed by your boss. So, if you're getting your payments approved, it would be 결제. Can you tell the difference in pronunciation? Confusing, right? This is a sophisticated bonus point for our high-level Korean learners. How was your first lesson? Did you enjoy it? Before we really say goodbye, let's recap what we have learned today. Now, you'll be able to order in Korean when you go to cafes in Korea. So, that is it for our first lesson. Remember, practice makes perfect. So, review the expression that we learned today, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye! 안녕!
도와드리겠습니다. 도와드리겠습니다. 샷 추가되죠? 샷 추가되죠? 하나 주세요. 하나 주세요. 저지방 우유 있어요? 저지방 우유 있어요? 결제. 결제.